What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, Michigan State versus that school down the road, Friday, 8 o'clock on Fox at the Chrysler Center down the road. No Gus Johnson on the call, though. We got Jason Benetti, Robbie Hummel, and Bill Raftery. Incredible group calling this game for the probably biggest matchup in this rivalry since the 2018-2019 senior night at Michigan State. Those three games, I guess really you can say the Big Ten tournament title that season as well. But those three games to close the 2018-19 season, MSU's Final Four year, Cassius Winston's junior year. Those three matchups, it first started with the win at Chrysler, and then a couple weeks later, it was the senior night win to hang a banner at the Breslin, and then about a week later in the Big Ten tournament title. And this, in my opinion, is probably the biggest matchup since that one. I remember the Cassius senior year, that first matchup, Michigan, they were still kind of highly ranked. But that team wasn't, I think they were barely on track to make the tournament that year. They might have been in, but nonetheless, this is the biggest matchup since, in my opinion, that 2018-19 season, without a doubt. And there's still been some good games over the last handful of years, but both teams in the top 15. Currently, Michigan coming in 20-5, 12-2 in the Big Ten, top of the conference right now. We have played one more game than them with that one more loss. But Michigan is winners of 6 straight, including a win over, at the time, number 7 Purdue, who obviously we just played and beat on Tuesday night. Michigan State's coming off two huge wins over Illinois, at Illinois, should I say, and against Purdue on Tuesday night. So a half a game behind Michigan for first place in the Big Ten. We got 2 of these matchups coming up the last 2-3 weeks of the season. This is the first one, so we're going to jump into this matchup. Cannot wait, but first, if you could, just hit that like and subscribe button down there. More Michigan State basketball content on the channel, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So, for Michigan, they are led by their 2 7-footers, Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf. Vlad averages about 16 points, 6 rebounds, block and a half a game. Wolf averages 13 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, a block and a half a game. He can shoot the ball pretty decently, 36% from 3. He'll handle the ball as well, create their action at 7 feet. A couple games ago, he had a really nice cross-up, made a defender fall, and I think hit the step-back 3 off that. He's very impressive and can do a lot. Both of them are, and they are the 2 main reasons for Michigan's resurgence this season after that horrific year last year. I mean, it was fun to watch, don't get me wrong, but you had to give them credit. They have turned this thing around, and Vlad and Danny Wolf are the two main guys for getting this thing turned around. And of course, Dusty May coming over, and that's another thing to say too as we're getting into the matchup. I hate that they have a coach that you can respect what he's doing. It was so easy to hate on Juwan Howard. I mean, his own fan base didn't even like him. But when Beeline was there, I always hated it because, and I know I speak for a lot of State fans saying this too, everyone hated when Beeline was there because he was a likable dude and he was a very good coach. And that was a problem because you're supposed to hate your rival, and you do. You don't like them, but you respect them, and he was a winner. Overall, good guy, did things the right way, and I think you could say the same about Dusty May here. I mean, look what he's turned around just in the first year, being there, and with the cupboards, kind of bare. I mean, Juwan brought in talent over the years, but he just wasn't a good coach, and Dusty May is a really good coach. You see that from how they've turned this around, and they're kind of in the driver's seat right now to win the conference in year 1. So very impressive there. But getting off their 2 main 7-footers, Danny Wolf's 10 rebounds as well, leads the conference in rebounding. So very impressive there. But Trey Donaldson averaged 13 points, 41% from 3. Roddy Gale Jr., 11 points. Namari Burnett, 10 points on 43% from three. He's also their highest volume three-point shooter as well. Will Shetter gives them solid minutes as well, adding about 7 points a game. But as a team, they average 82 points per game, which is 5th in the conference, 27th in the country. Really good rebounding team as well, 38 per game, just below Michigan State and Illinois in the conference. Illinois still number 1, Michigan State slated at number 2, with Michigan right behind in 3rd in the rebounding category. Michigan is 36% as a team from 3 on the year and 4th in the conference in total three-pointers made per game on the year. A big key to this game is turnovers. They turn it over at about 14 times a game, which leads the conference. They turn it over the most, more than any team in the Big Ten Conference. They force around 12 turnovers on the defensive side of the court per game. They're 12th in the country in effective field goal percentage, 143rd in the country in fast break points. However, they are 52nd in tempo, so they will speed things up and play fast if need be. But switching over to Michigan State, while we're on the fast break topic of things, last game against Purdue got back to their ways of running. 21 fast break points against Purdue. Back to number 3 in the country in fast break points. I have this right here. Yeah, back to number 3 with about 17 fast break points per game on the year for Michigan State. So they've been 1 or 2 all year. We talked about in the previews for the Purdue game that, they had fell a little bit to, I think, around 6 in the country, but getting that back up after a good game in the fast break against Purdue, and going ahead to take advantage of those turnovers in this one. If you can turn them over, get out in transition, that is a recipe for success for Michigan State. Then for Michigan State as well, continuing to attack the paint. Yes, you have one of the better shot blocking tandems in the Big Ten with their 2 7-footers, but attack the paint, put pressure on them, trying to pull Jax out. I think this is a game that would love to see Jax and Book playing 4 or 5 together. So you hope that you run some of those matchups, because then you can have both of them pull them out towards the 3-point line, get those 2 7-footers out of the paint to make it easier to drive, get backdoor cuts as well. Give them more, for Michigan State, give them more of a 5 outlook. And get guys into the paint and continue to score, which has been one of Michigan State's strengths on the year. Going to need the scorers to step up for Michigan State. Going to need Jaden Akins, going to need Jace Richardson, going to have to get it going on the offensive end, as well as the defensive end for the whole team, which has been top-notch for Michigan State all year long, and a big reason why they are where they are at in the conference right now, why they're ranked 14th in the country right now, and have had an incredible season. A lot of that is from the defensive side of the court for Michigan State, and going to definitely need that in this one, with Michigan being one of the better scoring teams in the conference. Michigan has been in a handful of close games of late. 8 games decided by 4 points or less since the turn of the calendar year here since the beginning of January. For Michigan State, got to keep the turnovers low, defend like crazy, and get out and run. And really, then going back to the Purdue game, I realized we didn't really talk about it after that one. But I think Michigan State really found something with the pick and roll to Carson Cooper, lobbing that thing up. I think they did it with Simone Zapala a couple times as well. But I think that's something to look at and hopefully try to take advantage of here, especially if you get your guards going. And they got to have that screener defender, kind of funnel to the guards. If they can get those slips on the rolls from the pick man on those, Carson, Simone, whoever. I'm cool with Cohen Carr setting those picks as well, seeing if they can get some, rolls and slips with that as well. Just attack the rim, attack the basket, attack the paint. But I think they really found something there last game against Purdue. Would love to see them try to go back to that in this matchup, see if they can have the same success there. Now over to Bart Torvik. They have Michigan as the number 21 team in the country. They are 12th in the polls this week. They are 20th in adjusted efficiency offense, 25th in adjusted efficiency defense. Michigan State back up to number 16 on Bart Torvik. They're number 14 in the polls currently. 31st adjusted efficiency offense, 15th adjusted efficiency defense. Now, Bart Torvik has this as a 77-74 Michigan State loss on the road. This one, it's definitely a big one, and whoever wins this game will have kind of a leg up in this remaining stretch of the Big Ten season when it comes to deciding who is going to raise a Big Ten regular season banner. Now, I do want to, before we get out of here, look at the remaining schedules for each team. So Michigan, they have Michigan State at home, and then on Monday, they go to Nebraska. They have Rutgers at home, Illinois at home, and Maryland at home, and then obviously they close at the Breslin Center against Michigan State. Currently, they are favored of those final 6 of those final 6 games. They are favored in 5 of the 6. The only one they are not favored in is senior night at the Breslin Center against Michigan State. So Bart Torvik only has them losing 1 more game this season. Now, going over to Michigan State, we've talked about ad nauseum how tough their remaining schedule is. They have 5 games left on the regular season, and they are at Michigan. They are at Maryland next Wednesday, so a little bit of a break before getting back to it next week on Wednesday at Maryland, and then they are home against Wisconsin on next Sunday, which is a very tough game as well, and then at Iowa, never an easy place to play, and then home against Michigan on senior day in the Breslin. Now, Bart Torvik, of those remaining 5 games, has Michigan State favored in 3 of them, and they are the last 3 of the season. They have Michigan State projected to lose by 3 at Michigan and by 4 at Maryland. So this is a big game, to say the least. This is a huge game, huge matchup, rivalry matchup, obviously hate week. Very excited, always excited about the game, and this is what you love. This is what you love about college basketball. But in terms of this season and the Big Ten race, whoever wins this game, kind of has a little bit of a leg up going into the last, 2-3 weeks of the season here. But that doesn't mean it's over. Yes, if Michigan wins this game, Michigan State's going to need some help. Possibly they're going to need to win out. And they're probably going to need Michigan to drop another game along the way, possibly. A big game. And listen, this rivalry, even though we've talked about, over the last, 4 or 5 years, really since 2020, since Cassius and Xavier Tillman left, Michigan State, hasn't had the overall success, haven't hung a banner, since then. But Michigan, they did win the Big Ten one of those years. They've had some decent years, but then they've had some down years the last couple years of Juwan as well. But this rivalry is always the rivalry. And the last 10 matchups in this one, 6-4 Michigan State leads, including last year's sweep. So, Michigan is going to be ready. They've already talked about it a little bit this week, talking about the Go Green, Go White chants in Chrysler last year as Michigan State won that one. So it's going to be a good one. Friday night, incredible group on the call. I'm excited all week. Love hate week. Absolutely love this matchup. Love this rivalry. Love when, and I always say this too. I kind of always echo what Tom Izzo says. Yes, I would love to beat them by 40 every time, but also in terms of the rivalry, especially for a national perspective, like Izzo always says, it's not really a rivalry if both teams aren't good and, kind of going back and forth and winning. Izzo talked about it before, right when he got there the first couple of years, it wasn't a rivalry because Michigan was beating Michigan State those years. And then, like he said, for a while, Michigan wasn't a rival because, Michigan State, when they were on their run winning the national championship, and until John Beilein got there. And then once he got things turned around, then that was really this is what it was growing up for me, where both teams were good, constantly fighting at the top of the Big Ten, really until the late, until 2020, really. And then, things kind of shift and change once John Beilein left. But overall, this is how it should be. The Big Ten runs through the state of Michigan, and really over this last 2.5 weeks, should both Michigan State and Michigan handle their business, these 2 games could decide who hangs a Big Ten regular season banner. And we got the first matchup on Friday night. Going to be a fun one. Can't wait to watch it. We'll be back to recap it after the game. So anyway, that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.